Hello, everybody. I'm Dan, the editor of War Games Illustrated magazine, and I'm joined by James, who's the project manager here at WI. He's the one on the other screen. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take you on an editor's tour of the latest issue. We did this about a month ago, and it was way too long. So we're cutting it down a bit. We're going to try and take you on a swifter tour this time, but at the same time, give you some interesting details about the articles in the magazine. Skipping straight past the cover, which suspiciously doesn't have any details of what the theme is this month, because there isn't one. This month we're going for a smorgasbord of delights, as we're calling it. So this lockdown's presented a bit of a problem when it comes to making themes for the magazine. So this magazine covers the whole of human history and the full gamut of wargaming possibilities. Straight past the cover there, and the contents page, the subscription, what's included, onto Quickfire. So Quickfire, we've got how many things have we got this month, James?
I think there's 6.
So yeah, 6 different readers with their projects, their hobby projects that they've been working on recently, including a comparison shot of the figures that we gave away last month with some Callistra ones. So yeah, quick fire, keep those things coming in, folks, because we really like hearing from you and posting them in the magazine. Then we get on to Observation Post. Observation Post is where we highlight new and forthcoming products in the hobby, whether that's figures or books or whatever. Several different things to look at in there before we get on to Full Paper Jacket. Full Paper Jacket is the book preview section of the magazine by our regular bookworm, Neil Smith. Then into the first article. So, first article being More Frightful Than the Most Hellish Devils, which is an article about what they call, James?
The Clinkets.
The Clinkets, not the Twiglets. No, we one of the first things that James Morris, who wrote this, informs us of in the articles is how you pronounce it correctly. So Clinkets is the correct name for these Native Americans who lived in what is now Alaska. James Morris has been collecting a force of Clinkets and the Russians who fought them in 1792. He turned up during lockdown fully masked, dropped off his collection of figures and terrain, got us to photograph them, and he's wrote about the project, putting it together. It's interesting stuff, this one, isn't it, James?
Yeah, I mean, visually really spectacular as well. The kind of the wooden armor with all the painting on it and stuff like that. And combine that with the board, it all looks amazing. So yeah, really good stuff. And he's done conversions for the Russians as well.
Yeah, the Russians he wasn't quite happy with, so he took some Frostgrave plastic heads actually and stuck those on some of the Russians. So yeah, really interesting one to read there, both about James Morris's project and a scenario as well, with profiles for musket and tomahawks. The next article is one you worked on more than me, which is A Billion Suns, the designer's notes for this new interstellar combat game.
Yeah, I mean, mostly Mike. Mike did the work, the author of the game. He provided a really good designer's notes here, gets into some of the cool stuff in the game. It's a really interesting one. I think maybe a front runner for best game of 2021, if I do say so myself.
Even though we're only in March.
It's just got some really intriguing systems, like you fight over multiple battlefields. You don't pick an army beforehand. You kind of buy your ships on the fly and jump them in through jump points. So there's a lot of intriguing stuff in there.
And he has got previous, hasn't he, Mark?
Yes. Yeah, Gaslands was his previous one, which kind of did all right, really.
Yeah.
People seem to like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's good to hear from him again.
Yeah, and we've got a flip through of the book up as well on YouTube. And I also did see that I think it's already sold out. If one of the Facebook posts saw it, yeah. So
yeah. Yes, always make sure you check out our YouTube channel to see the videos that we're putting up there, flip-throughs, unboxings, etc. Although, of course, if you're a Prime member, you'll get those first and more information about each one as well. So the next article, New France Under Siege, is by our old friend Nick Buxey, who's a bit of an expert on North America. And this is a sort of, what do you call it, James? A photo book kind of
Yeah, it's almost like a photographic picture book journey through Le Petit Gueux, where the guy kind of Terran French who were coming to settle in there. And yeah, there's some really good pictures,
Mm.
lots of different figure ranges and scenery bits that he describes as well.
Yeah. Then we're into a painting article, which hilariously we're calling "I see a Vietnam U.S. Marine. I want to paint it black green." No, I've done it right this time, actually.
Yeah, it's highly entertaining. Obviously, we're really pulling deep on our cultural references there. Not seen that one before.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But it's
So
some really good
yes,
models.
it's a title that goes across 2 pages, and if you don't read it like that, it's hilarious. But anyway, so yes, it's a painting guide for Empress Miniatures Vietnam figure, which was so good we made it enormous.
Yeah, I mean, when you can show a model that big on the page, you know it's been painted pretty well. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, a painting guide there to that figure. Uh, then we're into the on Guayaquil, which is pirate raidings, and the thing that's a bit different about this is it's pirates going onto seas onto the land. So we've got an article there by Neil Smith about recreating pirate warfare on land, basically. Then into Return to Ice Station Stripey Horse being a zebra. So it may be a bit like Ice Station Zebra or Zebra. The interesting thing that we picked up article was the terrain that was being used, the buildings that was being used.
yeah, yeah, the Mike Connington.
Mike, that's
It's
I
probably in
just
the article,
call
isn't
it
it?
Mike.
Blastwall, which is a terrain building company, and he's made this. And he does some tips on how to achieve similar things yourself. It's a really good little interview, and the article by Pete Brown's pretty good too. So.
Yeah. So we've got quite a striking looking article there by Pete with all these top secret folders in there. The making of the models by Mike. Yeah. Including some other projects that he's doing.
Yes, we've got a few of his other bits.
Yeah. Then we've got a quick little article again by Nick Buxey, features again this month. Attack Everything, which is a scenario for Wings of Glory, just a 3-pager. Before we get into surviving self-isolation with the Six Nations campaign. So this is Simon Hall of Mortimer Glorium fame.
Yeah, he ran a socially distant campaign. He basically simulated the battles himself, and the participants would get photos of what was going on. They'd then make their decisions, and then he'd like play out the battle himself. Really interesting stuff. Lots of good ideas that you could bring into your own campaigns. And there's kind of 10 tips for running a campaign throughout that he's put in there as well.
Yeah, that's cool. It's always good to hear how other people are running their campaigns so you can nick their ideas.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah. Then a war games guide to heraldry. So any medieval war gamer shouldn't be without the next 6 or so pages in this magazine, because it's a great introduction guide to what colours to put where and why colours were put where they were, and the kind of shapes and divisions that you should be using on your medieval shields and barding. And you tried a bit of it, didn't you, James, with that weird looking shield?
Yeah. It's maybe not historically correct. I did just snag a Chaos Shield from my bits box to do it. But yeah, it's a cool article. It kind of made Asana, our layout person, cry a little bit with all the neatening up of heraldry examples she had to do.
Yeah, but it looks pretty good in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's from a new contributor, Freddie Silburn Slater, who's got some more articles coming up in future issues as well.
Yeah, good. It's good to hear from him. The next article is the first of a 2-parter about First Bull Run. So it's my old mate Nick from North Star Military Figures. He's been collecting both sides for the First Bull Run, the American Civil War, the first battle of the American Civil War, and he shows us some of the figures that make up the units in his armies. So we're starting this month with the Confederates. Next month we're into the Union. So some nice looking figures. They're very different, not the standard blue and grey that you get with the American Civil War.
Yeah, really eclectic mix of stuff.
Yeah. Then we've got How to King, Paul. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not Paul. Oh dear. Sorry, Andrew. Andrew Pershall, who's done a how-to article for us about 20mm dark age watermill.
Yeah, it's a horizontal rather than a vertical watermill. The less publicized smaller brother of I don't know, but yeah, it's basically got the wheel spins around underneath it. So, but it's a really cool little build and very versatile. You know, it could go up to even early modern. So
yeah, it's one that you can use till quite late on, really, isn't it? Yeah, and some great photos there of how he's gone about building the model, which you can all copy at home.
Yep.
Then we're into one of our irregular features, which is a company profile this month for Offensive Miniatures. And we speak to Dave from Offensive Miniatures about his company, or rather our agent does, John Sutherland, who does these for us. And there lots of pictures there, of course, of Offensive Miniatures, one of which we forgot to caption.
We did, and it was unfortunate because it's a comparison picture. So there's a picture with 4 different models running along it there. The one on the left is Bolt Action. The second one is Rubicon. The third is actually Offensive Miniatures, and then the final one is from Artisan. So we should have put that on there because otherwise it's a little bit confusing.
It is, yeah. So I'm glad we're able to correct that now. So yeah.
Now no one can shout at us.
No, exactly. So yeah, that's the last article in the magazine. So we've wrapped it up a lot quicker this month. Although there is one thing worth pointing out just before we get to the end of the magazine, which is our advert for the next issue. It's worth knowing that the next issue after this one is WI 400. So we're celebrating our 400th issue by giving you a free copy of Death in the Dark Continental Light. So that will be given away with WI 400, the April issue of the magazine. A 32-page rule book. Look out for that one in store. DR, that's about it. A lot quicker than we managed to do it last month. Not because it's any easier to digest. No, it is easy to digest, but it's just we just managed to scoot through it a lot quicker than we did last time. So yeah, all 108 pages gone through in the magazine as quickly as we could, but we can't possibly do it, just can we?
No, I think you just have to buy it yourself and flip through yourself. It's
good idea, yeah. Flip through and read it all yourself because there's loads of great stuff in there this month. You'll find it in all good retailers, including a lot more Sainsbury's stores in the UK than we used to. We're going into more supermarkets, more Sainsbury's this month, more Tesco's next month, and of course you can get it online or buy it online as a subscription or via PDF. So there you are. That's WI 399 March 2020 issue of War Games Illustrated magazine.